Much for joining us. We've got our second episode of what we've been calling Sup With Me Tonight, which is just a bit of a low pressure way to connect with some folks while we're all sitting in our homes far too much for our liking these days. So on this episode, we've got Beverley Kobelsky, Lisa Christie, and Tom Rooney. We've kind of gone through the breadth of the history of the company to have some folks that have been with us in the past. And it's a great group of people. One of my favorite things about Shakespeare on the Saskatchewan, and I'm sure I'm not alone, is all the wonderful people that we get to work with. And on this particular Zoom call, we have three of the most wonderful human beings that we could come up with that have come through Shakespeare on Saskatchewan. The rest of the people that have come through Shakespeare on Saskatchewan, not so much.
Not so much.
Three, fantastic.
No.
And you notice I say three, not four, because I don't really count either. So we're just going to hang out for 15 minutes or a half hour or so until you get bored of hearing questions from me. But basically the idea is we just wanted to connect with some folks. In some cases, folks that we haven't talked to in a while, and in some cases, folks that we talk to more often. And we'll have a little bit of a meal. We'll break a little bread. I've got some questions for you, and you can pepper me with questions if you happen to have any, whatever. It's all kind of fair game. So. How are we all doing? Where are we calling from? Because we're across the country, and what's the food that you've put in front of yourself today?
Who's starting?
You are now.
I am. I've started. Well, I'm in my home in Stratford, Ontario. I keep disappearing. This is going to be challenging. In my home in Stratford, Ontario, and I'm actually not. I had a little snack before, so I'm having a little liquid supper here, this is I highly recommend this. This is called a bottle rocket. So it's a highball with 3/4 ounce of simple syrup, 3/4 ounce of lime juice, 2 ounces of tequila, and then you put in like a little wedge of like a jalapeno pepper or some kind of hot pepper. Put that in the cocktail shaker, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Pour that in with all the ice and with a little bit of club soda, and it's a beautiful summer drink. And you get a little bit of, it's like a little bit of a salad too, right? Because you got that little green pepper in there. So you're also getting your fiber along with all that.
Right, so it's your late afternoon health snack.
Exactly. And it's really, really hot here. So I need some liquid refreshments.
I felt like we had Stanley Tucci on the line for a while there. I don't know if anybody's seen his mixing the drinks that he's been doing during COVID.
No.
He keeps and he describes them not quite as beautifully as you do. It's great. Beverley, where are you at there and what you got in front of you?
I am in my home in Saskatchewan, sitting at my kitchen table, but looking out at my beautiful evergreen treed yard. I have a gin and tonic, or as my friend Lindsay would call them, a gin and Turner, in honor of Aidan Turner, the actor. I also have some lovely, you know me, French fries with sea salt and cracked pepper. And I have something for you, Will. It might be hard to get through the screen.
I knew that was going to be what it was, the cheesies. Beverley has a wonderful tradition of giving me cheesies quite often whenever I'm cranky at work, which never happens.
No, of course not.
And Lisa, where are you at there?
I'm in my apartment in Vancouver, and it's not hot here. It has not been hot here all year, but it's kind of cloudy today. But yeah, I can't complain too much because we have spring pretty much year round if we don't have hot weather. So, and I am also, let's see here, I've got drink and food. So my drink of choice is gin as well. Beverley, you and I are very like-minded, obviously, with some mint from my garden, grapefruit juice, and soda. And gin and grapefruit is like, I don't know, it's my preference over lime. I've discovered that I like grapefruit with gin a lot. So that's my drink.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And I've got some veggies that I grew in my garden.
Nice.
So I'm growing. I've got like 20 different varieties of vegetables growing on my patio garden right now, and yeah, and I'm gonna eat peas and green beans today from my garden that I've picked.
Do you have any hot peppers that you could put in this?
I don't. You know what? I grew red chili peppers last year, and I actually dehydrated them.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if red chili pepper would work.
Oh sure. After a couple of them, anything would work. Really, I'm sure.
I could try. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just be cracking black pepper here eventually. You know.
Okay.
Fantastic. Super fun. It's nice to see to have everybody across the country too. That's really great. And I'm at my home in my kitchen. I have a little farm just east of Saskatoon, so I'm out here. I tried to do this one on the porch so we could hear the roosters crowing in the background, but the Wi-Fi didn't reach that far. And Lisa, I'm on the garden trip too, so I ran out to the garden, grabbed myself a nice little salad with some Swiss chard and beet greens and things like that. It's a perfect time of year to be pulling things out of the garden. So that's great.
Yes.
And now, feel free to munch away. I mean, as we're recording these things, this is one of those ones where you're encouraged to talk and eat at the same time. I certainly will. And I think the first thing I'm curious to toss at you folks is, how's everybody doing in this COVID craziness? I mean, my partner, Jamie Lee, who is also a Shakespeare on Saskatchewan alumni, so she might poke her head in at some point. She's been counting the days that she's been stuck at home, and I think we're at 108 or something like that. So how's everybody doing? How are you? Are you staying creative? Are you taking a break? Are you trying to hone some things? Are you hanging out? What's COVID been like for you?
Well, I can start, I guess. I work from home. I've been taking probably about a 3-year break from being creative at this point. So yeah, I mean, to me, I guess days, I haven't been counting the days, but I mean, I work 5 days a week still, so it hasn't really changed much. I was working from home before this all started. So yeah, it hasn't been a huge impact, although, you know, I'm exploring things like growing vegetables from seed because nurseries were closed, and I am like still being creative in certain ways. Like I guess I am designing my garden and, you know, finding your zen in design and creativity in that way, and picking colors and stuff like that, and listening to lots of music, consuming a lot of music. Some good film and TV that's now available online, and oh, I do Snapchat filters. That's probably about the one thing I like to do with performing right now is I use the Snapchat filter, and they give you like different faces and sometimes different voices, and I just do it for myself. Like I'm not doing it for anyone else.
And Lisa, since we're on that topic, I'm curious to ask, you know, one of the things that's great is not only do people from Shakespeare's past spread around the country and the world, but, you know, people's lives change and people's lives shift. And, you know, some people stay in the arts, some people do other things, some people come and go. You know, with the path that your life has taken, what do your memories at Shakespeare, you know, what do they hold for you?
Oh God, a lot. I don't know how else to describe that, I guess, but really, like, I mean, that was my first professional foray into acting. I'd done a lot of theater before that, but I mean, acting with like the actors in town that you've looked up to growing up, and being welcomed, like feeling so welcomed as, you know, as a new member and a young member, and everyone else, you know, just kind of taking you into the fold, and feeling that sense of camaraderie with the cast. And I mean, you spend a long time with each other. You're there, you know, for 3 months or so. And you're doing little publicity stunts before that and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I took so many photos back then. I have so many photo albums and good pictures and good memories. And
how many seasons did you do?
3.
Yeah.
3, 96, 97, 98. I was thinking back to that last night. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. One of my funnest memories, I'd say I probably have two, was I played a trick on James O'Shea in our first season, my first season. The site, because the site is excavated yearly, or it was, I mean, not much anymore, but so there was like big mounds of dirt, and James was planting pumpkin seeds, and it had grown over the course of the month of June. And so when we got down to the site finally, and we were like playing on the actual stage, and he was constantly going to his pumpkin patches and like watering them and checking on them. And I remember he was super excited, like flowering one day. And then I got in my head to place some, I can't remember if it was zucchini or cucumbers in place. So he had been really excited about these flowers, and he was going to have pumpkins one day. And then one day he showed up, and I remember watching him, and he just kind of like looked down and just like backed up, like, what the hell?
I remember that. That was a great day.
Yeah, it was a good plan. And you guys really just, I mean, that was my first season. So playing a trick on a seasoned actor, I was like, maybe I shouldn't. But then I remember Kristen saying that you guys played tricks on each other all the time. So then it made sense.
Awesome. And Tom, how's your COVID world going?
It's fine. It's a real roller coaster. COVID is a real roller coaster. One day, everything's fine. I mean, I'm very, very lucky. I'm living in a nice little town, a nice house, and I've got, things to do and a great community here. I got a lot of friends here. So in many, many ways, I'm so well off compared to many, many other people in the world, And then as long as I can stop my brain from thinking about the future and about, is theater ever going to happen again? And when is it going to happen again? And how is it going to happen? The days, as long as I can stop my brain from going there, the days can be pretty enjoyable. And I'm doing a lot of housework. I'm doing a lot of projects around the house that I've been meaning to do for ages now. So I'm getting a lot of those things kind of done. And like you, Lisa, I'm listening to a lot of music. Music is one of those things that is, brings you comfort so quickly. Listening to a lot of old music and a lot of new music that I've never heard before, and watching a lot of things online, a lot of YouTube performances online, musical performances online that I always really enjoy, and listening to interviews of artists that I admire, listening to them talk about creativity and how they create, and it's so in many ways this pause has been a great kind of an opportunity to look at things that I would never have had a chance to do. And I'm doing a lot of reading as well. Not these, these are just props. They're not actual real books there.
Yeah. There's some very thick books back there.
Yeah. No, I kind of glued them together to make them look like they're bigger.
Yeah, so. Fantastic.
But it's funny that, Lisa, that memory, I remember that memory. I remember that James being so amazed at this thing that was suddenly growing there. And one of my favorite memories too, I mean, again, it's like those summers were amazing, such great people telling great stories, audiences that wanted to be there. They were there for the event. It was summertime. It's down by the river, which was beautiful. And you had all that water next to you. And sometimes, we'd always remember that there's always be beavers coming across. I don't know if there are anymore, and the pelicans, it was really an ideal. What's that?
And the speedboats.
The speedboats, yes.
Well, and now actually, in addition to the speedboats, they've put the Children's Hospital helipad right across from us. So twice per show, we get the helicopters, which of course, nobody's ever going to tell an air ambulance not to land, because that's kind of important. But it's in every show now. Yeah. But I remember one great, again, a practical joke that everyone played. I remember we were doing Comedy of Errors that Henry Woolf directed. And remember, Bev, it was set in, we were all like wearing fezzes, and it was in Turkey or something like that. And, what's that?
was 1995.
That's right. That's 1995. Okay, yeah, great. And I remember having a big fight with baguettes. We had baguettes as well, and we had a big sword. But I remember I also played a ukulele in that show, and I had just got this ukulele. I think Burgundy Code actually bought me this little ukulele, and I loved this ukulele, but I didn't play it very well. I couldn't play it. But I had to play it for this number, for the first number of Act 2. I had to go on and play this ukulele, and we sang this song called Tobacco. Remember that song? Anyway, I'm sorry if you do remember it, but anyway, so I would practice this ukulele at intermission.
Henry Woolf.
Henry Woolf, yeah. I think he wrote it, that's right. I would practice ukulele all intermission, and people were like, I was driving people crazy practicing this stupid ukulele. So one time, Brad Grass, everyone remember big bad Brad Grass, came and said to me, Tom, do you mind can I play your ukulele? And I was like, yeah, okay, so whatever. I give it to him, he starts playing it, but then he trips, falls back, and lands on top of the ukulele and smashes it to smithereens. I mean, he picks it up and like the neck is dangling, the strings are dangling. It's like dust, it's nothing. And I just remember I started to sweat. I started sweating immediately. And people started running around. I remember Kent Allen running around getting some gaff tape and was like trying to gaff it together. I was like, no, man, that thing is done. It's gone. You know, I'm such a terrible storyteller because what Brad did, we start again. Anyway, he grabbed the ukulele and he started playing it. I'm terrible. Started playing it, and then he ran around into the trailer and going, I've got ukulele, la, 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 running around, came back out, was, I got ukulele, then fell, smashed the thing, sweat, gaff tape, people trying to and I'm just like, I can barely breathe because A, the ukulele is gone, which I loved, and B, I'm getting a call.
Yeah.
That never happens. I don't know.
It's Brad.
Yeah, probably. I wish it was. Anyway, so I'm playing. He's like jumping around and they smash. I'm sweating. And then Ralph Blankenegel brings out my ukulele and they had switched it in the trailer. Yep. And it was just a great, great joke. And I'm so grateful to this day that I didn't, explode and, hit Brad or something. I just sat there and started to sweat. Yeah. But the great thing about Shakespeare in Saskatchewan are all those people and being out there. And just one other thing too, I remember the nights being so beautiful, and that the mid-July where you get the sun setting on one side and the full moon rising on the other side of the river. It's just spectacular. It's beautiful. It was a great way to spend the 90s.
Yeah, the 90s. Yeah, there was Brad pulled one on us, and I think Tom, you might have been in this season because we only crossed over by one season, I think, or two maybe.
That's right. You played Catesby. Didn't you play Catesby in the Richard III?
Ratcliffe, but yeah.
Ratcliffe. That's right.
Yeah. That was fun. I enjoyed that. And I think it might have been that show. And Brad had the first entrance or something like that, and he kept playing this trick on everybody, and he would just go around backstage and say, don't forget your line when you go on stage, okay? Just don't forget your line. Don't forget your line. Don't forget your line. Don't dry. And he was driving all of us crazy. And I was just like, I'm a terrified little anxiety-driven kid, so this is the worst thing anybody could ever do to me. And he did this to everybody again one day, and then went out for his entrance and forgot his line.
Beautiful.
And I remember standing there in the wings with a few of us, and nobody helped him because we were just like, you deal with this, you bugger, it's yours.
Nice. Hilarious.
Yeah. Beverley, how are you keeping busy? I mean, I know I see you sometimes, but.
Well, it was pretty busy at the beginning, just moving from face-to-face teaching to online. And so that kind of took through to middle of April, and then got marking done. And then just kind of trying to keep busy. The Tempest had been designed, so I was still playing with a few ideas. I've been chainmailing like a fiend, So I'm
Wow.
up to 57 bracelets. And I, of course, just to be me, decided to chainmail a mask.
Amazing.
Oh, that is
Wow.
brilliant, Beverly.
That's
So
beautiful.
that took a long time. But
Wow.
Fantastic.
people get a little afraid of it when I wear it in public, so not very often. But yeah, just kind of doing that. And there's I know you probably can't see it, my Caliban Prospero sort of concoction. This is just a bit of it too that I'm building. It glows, so when Caliban climbs around, well, anyway, we'll see. But yeah, so just sort of still playing with, sorry, that was a really loud noise. Playing with what I love, chainmail. I have been doing some mask sewing to give family and friends and such, but I would much rather chainmail than sew. So, but yeah, as Tom said, it's kind of a roller coaster though, where today is a really tough day because it would have been media call and for the festival, and tomorrow would be first audience, and so I'm going to get all so the first time since 1988 that I haven't worked July 1st.
Wow.
That was pretty bizarre, and you couldn't do anything because of COVID. So, but no, I mean, but on the other hand, it's, you know, really, I still get to see people and Zoom with people and think about all my friends and ride my bike to try and see a few different people around town. So yeah, but no, it's pretty strange. It's interesting thinking about memories. I mean, there's just way too many. I wasn't often part of the practical jokes because I work more behind the scenes, but I see Henry Woolf quite often, and it's funny, he talked about the baguette fighting scene not so long ago. And he will tell me quite often about, Lisa, when you played Portia in 1997, and your crazy, you know, the mad scene where you stabbed yourself in the leg and went to Brutus. So he'll talk about, you know, we reminisce about all of those things, and there's just, and I mean, even in recent years, there's just how many memories. He told me I should write my own book, and that people would actually would probably pay me to not publish it. But no, I mean, yeah, I have a beautiful house and a beautiful yard. I grow more flowers than vegetables because part of the reason I left the farm is I have the dreaded black thumb, so I can't really grow anything. But yeah, no, it's good. And now just trying to sort of gear up for online teaching in the fall.
Still at
Yeah.
Brave new world, but yeah.
Yeah, especially trying to teach very practical things like theater and acting and design and all that. It's going to be very interesting. And we've got a kid starting kindergarten this year, and I can't even fathom how they're going to pull off trying to teach kids to socially interact when they're not allowed to socially interact. I can't even imagine how that works, but we shall see. And what about the future of theater, everyone? What's the future of theater going to be, or what do you hope stays the same or changes after this, or you know, what are you thinking about as far as the future?
You know, I mean, it's just so hard to know. I mean, I know the Stratford Festival, I'm sure they have, you know, like you, I'm sure there's probably a dozen scenarios, right? Depending on what happens, depending if there's a vaccine that comes along and when it comes along. So it's just impossible to know. You know, I count my blessings that I've had a career up to this point, that I've gotten a chance to do a lot of different things with a lot of great people, and I feel very fortunate about that. I feel badly for some of the younger people who were just starting out, you know, and who were just starting to get their chances and their opportunities. Hopefully they will, but who knows when. I mean, I guess I hope that when we come back, people will realize, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people do already, but that there will even be a greater understanding, and that people will even see even more how important live theater is, and how gathering together in one room to tell a story is so important and so unlike anything else, any other artistic experience. You know, I mean, I've been involved in a couple of readings online, Zoom readings and stuff, but it's not theater. It's just not the same. And you really need people together. So I'm hoping that whenever we do come back, we will appreciate that even more, and see the importance of theater and gathering together and telling stories to each other in the same room. You know?
Yeah. One of the things that I often have been pondering about during this is how long these sort of undefined or unspoken things that it does to our hearts will last. You know, I think about people who went through the Depression, and when they were 80 and 90, they were still rolling up and folding away their candy wrappers and storing them because they can't bear to get rid of things, because you know, you just had nothing for so long, and that lasted with people their entire lives. And it was money for the Depression, whereas in this case, it's human contact. Like, we're actually, in the span of 3 months, we've trained ourselves to be distant from people. And we all have that feeling of when we go into a room now of going like, oh, I don't know if I can actually engage. And it becomes an emotional barrier as well. And I try to imagine how we're going to get back in a room and willingly put ourselves into not just close physical proximity, but close emotional proximity, so that we can share an experience. And I guess my hope coming out of that is that we'll then have to do it consciously. So we'll have to actually know that by going to the theater and engaging in that, we are aware of the fact that we're doing something communal. Whereas before it was a bit of an accident, and then we can appreciate it if we actually are conscious of it. And right. You know, that's the hope that I would take out of that. Yeah. Beverley, what do you think your students' future is going to be like?
Well, I have to have, you have to have hope. The world has gone through these types of things before, and art is such an important part of everyone's life, and that's why all of these streaming music and streaming choirs and all of this stuff is happening on social media, because people still desperately need, and all these other, the National Theatre Live streaming people. So I think it may take a bit of time. We all still come back together. It might be a bit smaller groups and moving into larger groups, but I'm a bit like Tom. I'm so thankful I have 30 years in, but I sure would like to have, I don't know, 15.
Oh, I think we froze Beverley there, but Lisa, did I cut you off there? Were you trying to add something?
Oh no, I was just like, oh, I thought it was my computer. I was playing.
I think we may have actually lost Beverley there. She'll probably come back in a second, but and I think actually we're running a bit short on time too. So it's kind of a good place to leave it for some of the things that we hope for the future. Lisa and Tom, if you're ever back in town, I don't know how often you get back, Lisa. I've seen you on occasion, but if you're back anytime, just come hang out and we'll show you around the. Oh,
hey. Hi. Well, nice to see you.
Nice to see you guys too. I had to come on quickly say hi.
Yeah, good.
Jamie and I are smiling, and we look like we've slept a lot because our kid is at the lake.
Yeah.
I keep dying.
So we'd love to see you all again sometime. So swing by when you're in town, say hello.
Yeah.
We really the folks who are at Shakespeare on Saskatchewan presently and are sort of planning for the future, we have a great appreciation for where we've come from, and we have a great appreciation for all of the wonderful folks that have come through the festival. So thanks for the time you've put in at the festival, all the great work that all of you have done, and come back and play sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd love to. I would love to spend another summer on the Saskatchewan River telling stories with a bunch of great people.
And
You're
I
hired.
will
Yay.
if costume everyone.
Yes.
I'm down. I love your costumes, Bev.
So do I. Oh, quick story. Another one of my favorite stories was doing Much Ado About Nothing in the bug world. Remember that? Henry Woolf.
Yes, I do. My first design with Shakespeare.
Fantastic. And I remember going to, I was playing Claudia. That's right. And I thought, I knew I was a dragonfly. And I thought, Claudia, the dragonfly needs his wings to go up. Like, and so I got Bev to rig me this thing that every time Hermia, I'm forgetting these names. Is it Hermia?
Hero.
I think, what's that?
Hero.
Hero.
Oh.
It's been so long since I've done any theater. Hero. Every
How
time
soon
Hero,
we forget.
yes, exactly. Every time Hero came into the room, my wings would rise up like that. It was just,
And when you got drunk, one was up and one was down.
oh, that's right.
It was brilliant.
It was all because of your costume.
I think when we put this thing online, we might have to see if we can find a photo of that.
Yes. Yes. I wish I still had them. I wish I still had the wings.
I'll make you a new pair.
Okay, that'd be great.
Well, thank you so much, folks. It's great laughing with you, and it's great seeing all of you. And be well, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, we could do this without a Shakespeare Zoom. We'll just do it.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hang out. I'd love that. I'd love it. So great to see all of you. It's really great. Thanks for inviting me.
You bet.
Yeah, thank you, Will.
Thanks, man. Take care, Lisa.
Bye, Lisa.
Bye, guys.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.